This video will cover the PatternTrax tool. It is another pattern tool on the CVX. It works similar to pattern search, but PatternTrax actually performs image enhancements to extract the outline of the image before it performs a search throughout the search region. So we'll go ahead into the tool categories. You can find it in the function list under PatternTrax. You can also find it in the presence discrimination category as outline pattern, right next to shading pattern, which shading pattern is the pattern search tool. The position angle tool, because it gives an X, Y, and theta, as well as the count, because you can find multiple patterns with the PatternTrax tool. We can take it from the function list here and add it. First, this green box is going to be the pattern region, so you want your pattern to go inside of that. The larger blue box is the search region. We can leave that as is, just nearly the entire image here. So if we start to trigger, we'll go through some scenarios where the PatternTrax tool can be very beneficial. So we're already finding this pattern, don't have to change anything. We go to this one, we're not finding it. If we turn up the angle range to plus or minus 180 degrees, we will be able to find this pattern in any orientation within the image. If we trigger again, we're only finding one, so we can turn the detection count up to 2. We trigger again. Now we have 6 patterns, so we will have to turn the detection count all the way up to 6 to find all of these patterns. Now after this trigger, the images move slightly to the right. So if we go into the detection conditions, we can look at the detection region expansion and turn this on, and now we're able to find that 6th pattern. It is able to find patterns when they are going outside of the search region up until half of the part can be found. You can also look at the detection order here. This just selects the identification order of the patterns. Right now, just by default at the match percentage descending. So the highest match percentage will be the judged label 0, and it will always be in green. But you can go through and choose what you want to be your judged label. You can also choose the order. It can be X position ascending, or something such as clockwise, or even a sort of Z shape like you see here. What you can also do when there are multiple patterns in one image is set the minimum distance that they have to be apart from each other. So if I go in and turn this up to 300, we will actually not find the ones in the middle because they're closer than 300 pixels away from the other detected patterns. So we can leave that setting at 200. Now if we trigger again, we are seeing a completely inverted image. So if we click in the reverse detect, we can find targets where the black and white is reversed of the registered pattern. And here, on a situation where the background is very different, we can go into the feature extraction conditions and turn our search sensitivity to high and turn our feature extraction size up to 4 so that we can robustly find these patterns. Now if we again cycle through all of the images, we'll be able to detect all of these patterns. Now something to keep in mind is a default setting on PatternTrax. The noise cut is set to 10. If you are seeing that there is too much features cut in your image, you can certainly change that down to 0 for detecting the appropriate pattern if you are having any troubles with that. But for this image, it certainly works. To summarize the PatternTrax tool, it works similar to the pattern search tool. However, it uses image enhancements to extract the outline of the image before it performs a search on the region selected. As you can see on the screen here, this is the difference between the PatternTrax tool and the pattern search tool for this specific image. The PatternTrax tool is also very good for parts that are very close together or could be touching. It's good for parts that may slightly go outside of the search region. It's good for parts that could have inverted colors as well as a varying or noisy background. So if there are some tricky patterns that you are having trouble locating, this could be a very effective tool to use.